bit about the project, what inspired it, the kind of like why now, and a bit of background to the thinking behind it.
Of course. Firstly, thank you for having us for this, Irene. So what really inspired us around the rebrand was really when I moved back to the region, a lot of people knew of Birds, had shopped with Birds because mum, dad, grandma, grandparents, uncle had taken them there. And actually what we were trying to showcase now in a ever increasingly competitive market is a bit about the people of the business, how we make our products, how we deliver our products, and how many of our products are still made by hand, fresh every day. We really wanted to go back to the founding principles of the business around quality and freshness. And the important part that Caulder Moore played in that is really echoing that within the in-store experience.
So I was just going to ask Jamie, in our experience, a heritage brand like Birds, one of the challenges they always have is how do they attract a new customer whilst old classic throwing the baby out with the bathwater or retaining their existing customer.
Yeah.
So how did that influence your thought process?
Yeah, there were certainly some challenges, which I think we both saw along the way, both internal and external. It sort of goes back to what I was saying to start with in terms of increasingly competitive high street. We wanted to refocus what the business was offering. Many of our staple products will continue to remain available, but we've got lots of cheesy phrases, as you know, around breakfast, lunch and treat.
Yeah.
And refocusing that as the purpose as to why our customers are shopping with us. And really how we're then going to set up with the stores themselves. One of the challenges we had with the retail teams themselves is that we've gone from an era and an age where we have a huge amount of counter space to much smaller amounts of counter to make sure that the product and the counters look full throughout the day, which is a common theme that we see across the business, is that people are put off going into Birds after 2 because they think there's going to be nothing left, when actually there is still a lot of product left. So that was one of the many challenges that we did have to overcome. So yeah.
And I think, from our point of view, one of the things that's really important in the brief was how did we express that heritage, that experience, that expertise in the business, that resides in the business, and reframe that in a way that resonates and propels modern customers, younger customers, a broader range of customers.
Yeah, and I think one of the many ways we've done that, and it's something that we no doubt will come on to ask, is one of my favourite parts of the store is the window display. I think the way that we showcase our products there, it's a bit like a French patisserie, or many people have told us that, but and that is where some of the inspiration came from that we worked on. And that was really one of the challenges, is to, that's a very different way of doing things, but actually we've seen that it worked. And one of the sort of founding thoughts that we had when we first started talking to you is, how can we create a store that is almost impossible to walk past because all the products look so good that you have to go in?
And I guess that thing is about elevating an experience, but doing it in such a way that it doesn't become scary nor intimidating.
Yeah.
Because it's all about, we talked a lot, Jamie, in the initial stages of our discussions about enhancing the value perception. That value is not just about prices, it's about the experience the customer has, and as you say, the way the products are displayed is all about making it feel special, making it feel like a treat, making it feel, really kind of compelling and seductive.
Goes back to breakfast, lunch and treat. But yeah, I remember one of the very first conversations we spoke about, we did talk about the different levels of products and the way that your eye line that will then follow it, and it makes it exciting, it makes it feel like you are being treated. And it shows that we, as a business, have thought about everything and sat here in our Park Farm store. It makes me very happy that you look around at how well the products are presented. So it's great to see our shop teams delivering on a daily basis.
So I guess one of the things that's been really exciting about this partnership that we've had is that you've gone quite big and bold, Jamie, and it's not been a gentle evolution. It's been something that's been pretty transformative. This site doesn't look anything like the store that we visited together initially 18 months ago.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the challenge of actually embracing something that was going to be of that ilk?
It was a scary leap, I must admit. There were many conversations had about the importance of the old maroon. But we spent a lot of time internally and discussing with you guys as well as to the maroon hadn't been with the business for that long. And one thing that we did find is that, and we actually found this with the universities that we work with, is that a lot of the feedback is people had heard of birds, or particularly new people into the area, but didn't know what we did. And part of the store concept was making us stand out on the high street, and that's certainly what we have done now, and I love it.
So I was going to ask you a little bit about how you think we may have helped you overcome some of those challenges. Because obviously we got to know you through a personal recommendation.
Yeah.
So.
No, you guys were brilliant. So you, Daniela, Rebecca, we got to know the whole team. I think for a family business as well, that was really, really important. It's something that as a business and as a brand we hadn't invested into before, so having that personal recommendation was important. What we found amazing was the communication that you guys had. We had lots of people involved at different stages for all the right reasons, but sometimes you can have too many voices. And what you guys did brilliantly was take the really good and important snippets from everyone, what everyone wanted, and create the vision and the store that we see in front of us today. So we're really, really happy with the work that you guys have done. I think the other bit is that you embraced and got to know the business. You were under the skin of the hood. You spent a lot of time within the bakery as well, and seeing how the products are made, and that helps when it comes to bringing the vision to life.
Yeah. I think it's. From our point of view, and we know clients experience this on their own side as well, is that challenge of having to gain consensus and having to gain buy-in, as well as keeping the sort of vision fresh and inspiring and because you're quite right, we're operating in a space which is incredibly competitive now, so doing something where it's sort of gentle evolution that customers wouldn't have noticed probably wasn't going to do the job. It needed to be something that was a lot more dramatic, a lot more transformative. To do the thing that you talked about earlier is getting some of those younger customers that don't know the brand, to get them to think about birds as being somewhere that they felt compelled to sort of experience, investigate, and visit.
100%, and I think we talk a lot about birds being an iconic brand within the region, which we are, and we don't take that lightly, that sort of status as such. And what we really wanted to focus on is, we think in the hearts of our customers, but we also sit in the hearts of their neighbourhoods. And we really wanted to create a destination for people to come to. When we say people, every member of the family, that's even better. Whether that's as a family weekend, or whether it's with a partner, whether it's kids, whether it's grandparents, whether they want to eat there, eat later, or breakfast, lunch and treat. I'll stop using the cheesy phrases at some point. And that's and that was the bit that we've really started to see, and we're really, really happy with.
Yeah. So again, one of the things we talked a lot about in the initial brief about how do you embed yourself in a community, which the brand has always done, but seating, for example, has been quite a key part of creating that destination status. Every brand talks about the importance of dwell time, and I guess the longer we can get customers to stay and to linger and so on, the more that they will hopefully sort of explore the breadth of the range, really.
Yeah, so seating's been it's a really important part of our new store concept. as a business, it's quite interesting if you look at the evolution of stores to date, or even prior to Ashby and Park Farm, is that we went from tea rooms, so table service, to then taking seats out entirely, to now having some seating. And what we've learned is having some seating is so important, because it makes the shop, no one wants to go into an empty restaurant kind of theory. It really adds to that. I want to go in, and it can be quite daunting going into a Birds in some ways, because there's so much to look at. There's so many different products in different categories, whether that's filled rolls to hot food to cream cakes to items that you're trying to spot within the window display. And seating just adds to that customer's experience, and they feel a little bit more relaxed and at ease when they're within the store. So it's worked really well. It's worked really well.
It's funny because I've been here today, and of course, compared to sort of seeing the before and after, it's quite interesting. I think the seating thing has really created an opportunity for people to sort of, I don't know, spend more time with the brand. And I've seen that it's been a real mix of customers that seem to enjoy having the opportunity to sit somewhere comfortable and a bit more relaxed.
And it's this sort of whole ether of our customer base. It's mum, dads with parents from the primary school behind coming after school and selecting cupcakes that aren't going to spoil their kids' teas, I'm sure, to the builders that we get who come in the morning and want their sausage cob on their coffee. We're just around the corner from Derby University here, so seeing students come in and willing to work within here shows that we've created an environment and an ambience that people want to spend time in.
What does success look like?
It's always a very good question, what does success like? There's obviously tangible targets and intangible. I think the success for me has been as much internal as external, with the people of the business, and seeing the rebrand and the new store concepts come to life. Not just because they had 12 months of me talking about the importance of brand without having anything to show for it. But it's really, since turning the year, since opening of Ashby in January and then Park Farm following very quickly after, it showed that we mean business and that we're a fresh and exciting brand that they hopefully want to work for. We're spending a lot of time this year on improving training and development and opportunities within the business. So that's one huge part of success. From a customer point of view, it's how can we get that next generation of customer to continue to shop with us. But also within Derby, within the East Midlands, the region that we cover, it's how can we attract that customer who hasn't been brought up with birds in their life, with mum, dad, grandparents taking them. And it's great. It's been great to see the success that we've had through Ashby and Park Farm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea of having something that feels much more contemporary, much more current, I think will have a huge effect in attracting new customers and really just sort of changing perceptions of the brand, because I think there's always this challenge of brands get very afraid of losing their older established customers, particularly if you are more of a heritage brand, but also I think in our experience underestimating how a more mature customer, say, has a huge appetite for things that feel new, fresh, current, modern. Is huge.
Yeah. We as a business and as a brand, the most important thing going into this product was making sure we created an environment that our existing customer wanted to shop in, as well as attracting that new customer as well. And I think we've really encompassed that here, which has been great to see. There obviously were some thoughts around how far do we go, and we've really made a statement here, and I think it's brilliant, and we all, everyone within the business loves it. It's certainly been a talking point when you go and see other shops as to when are we next on the list. And whilst we've got big plans, those plans are still slightly under wraps for the time being.
What a shame, because I was going to ask you what about the future.
So in terms of the future, so we as a business, we've got 61 shops. We've got one central bakery on Ascot Drive in Derby. We think there's capacity for up to 80 stores. So there's a lot of growth to come from the current site. A lot of what we're also focusing on within the bakery, in terms of bakery development, is how can we make that space more efficient and again fit for the products that we're now seeing come through. One thing I was going to mention earlier is that it's great to see that from new product development discussions right early on, we're thinking about where that's going to be positioned in the store, which is so important to that customer journey, that customer flow, and actually how the position of that product can change throughout the day.
Yeah.